Thanks for joining me today. I've stated before my interest in the Mounds really stem from Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time and the worship of the feathered serpent or Quetzalcoatl of the Mayans that he mentioned specifically in that radio program. This worship of the feathered serpent is noted in many cultures that have made their way around the earth and are known to be connected to secret societies of the Brotherhood or the Masons. The mounds of North America are mostly concentrated in the Mississippi River Valley area, and they have a story to tell us, not only about our past, but also about our true history as a country. There are many other, more notable channels here on YouTube that are talking about the mounds and have many theories regarding them. One of the theories that I agree with is that these mounds were built by the Nephilim or giants mentioned in the Bible. And so while sorting through some of the newspaper articles at the website of the Library of Congress, I came across a few worth noting. This article by the Sunday Star, dated July 20th, 1930, and written by a Frank Thone, points to the mound builders of North America being related to the Mayans of the Yucatan and other, quote, highly cultured peoples of the Mexican plateau, close quote. A Dr. H.C. Chitrone, who was director of the Ohio State Museum at Columbus and, quote, one of the most active investigators of the Indian mounds in America, close quote, thought it was most probable that the vanished peoples of the Mayans migrated into the southern Mississippi River Valley, settling there and building these large earthenworks that resemble those we see in Mexico. They also allege that they developed several different cultures or types of civilizations, yet how they ceased to exist as a society remains elusive and shrouded in mystery. Their public narrative always seems to be and remain at odds with one another, just to keep us from fully understanding the truth. Dr. Chitrone goes on to say that the mound builders in all probability had some sort of contact with the high civilizations of the South and is believed now by particularly all students of American antiquity. In several mounds, particularly in the southeastern United States, elaborately worked figures and sculptures of sheet copper, shells, and other materials have been found in a workmanship resembling the Mayans and the Aztecs. He also states the favorite subject is a full panoplied brave doing a war dance. His regalia is like those in the Mexican cultures. The artifacts he has come across is so similar, indicating these cultures not only worship the same feathered serpent, they wore the same copper jewelry and the same type of decorated headdresses, and the similarities continue in obvious forms of sun worship and building flat-topped pyramids, also known as temple mounds. It's also very telling there were jewelry and sculptures located in Alabama with the same designs on them as those found in Mexico. And another interesting tidbit is that the tools or weapons found in the Mississippi River Valley mounds were made of obsidian, and supposedly the closest proximity to obtain this stone in the United States is Yellowstone National Park, which leaves the question of how it ended up in the Mississippi River Valley and in such quantities. Dr. Citron found the obsidian discovered in this region was favored by the Mayans and Aztecs for their ceremonial blades. The parallels between these two areas, the Mississippi River Valley and the Yucatan of Mexico, are too many to ignore. So this article by the Ogden Standard out of Utah, dated October 16, 1915, reads that Congress is asked to preserve prehistoric mounds. But look closer to the headline here. What are they really telling us? So quoting here, monks of Cahokia observed strange ritual in honor of a bygone race. The dress and ceremonies resemble that of this which I can't say, but they're members of this secret organization in Illinois and are now engaged in a weird task, close quote. What does that mean? Well, allow me to continue quoting here. Quote, these men, or the monks of Cahokia, come at night to honor the memory of that forgotten race of centuries ago. Not one is known to the other. Not a word is spoken except the strange incantation, and no eyes, save those of the monks, are allowed to gaze on the mystic rites for the dead buried beneath that mound. Close quote. Y'all, that's very specific, isn't it? Very occultic in nature, and by the way, it's called necromancy. The Cahokia Mound is the largest earthenwork in the United States and is strategically located near St. Louis, Missouri, along the Mississippi River, which I believe is very important. Have you ever heard the phrase, location, location, location? And why do these secret organizations always loom around these ancient earthenworks or sacred grounds? If there isn't anything to it, why are the stories, legends, and myths always the same? Allow me to summarize just for a minute the rest of this article, basically acknowledging a secret order of men in the Illinois area who perform in rituals at this mound. Some of the men of the secret organization decided that the mound should be perpetuated, and they called on Congress to purchase the land on which this mound is located, and allegedly the publicity was necessary for such a project, but it also revealed the names of its leaders. A George E. Little was the Lord High Chancellor. Then there was a J.H. Durker, Congressman William Dodenberg, and a Judge W.E. Hadley, all of Edwardsville, and a Dr. Henry Welpley, who was an archaeologist in St. Louis, Missouri, who by their own admission explored the mounds and removed many of the valuable relics found. And this is only a sampling of some of the old archives regarding the mounds. I'll end on this for this video, and allow me to quote here, quote, "The history of the ancient race that constructed these mounds is buried in the deepest antiquity, Archaeologists are certain that they even antedated the Indians, who were supposed to be the first inhabitants of this continent, close quote. And even here they point out what I noticed while we were visiting the mounds in Natchez, that the mound builders were the same high order of civilization as the Egyptians. So let's continue on sorting through these articles and archives and see what else we find.